Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. You're listening to LOTRO Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network. Brought to you by Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter to get your first month free. And by Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMO Reporter to get a free 120 gig SSD with your purchase. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of LOTRO Reporter. This is episode 310. I'm Chris and I am joined by the always lovely, always fashionable Carrie. Hello Carrie.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am doing well. I'm
very excited to be podcasting with you again today.
Yes.
Always fun. Always good times. So we've got a fair bit of news to talk about today. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. We've tried this a few times in the past. We've seen how it works, but in the background, as we play as well, I am going to be running around in game. If you are watching live and want to join me, I am on Brandywine right now, running around Pelargir. Gosh, I can't talk today.
Pelargir.
So, no, it's because it's a G-I-R, not G-R-I. Pelargir.
I'm sure Amamoset is going to tell us how to properly say it.
I'm sure Amamoset will. But come find me. I'm just running around doing some quests as we do that and talk about the news. The biggest reason is that we actually have something as part of the news that we want to show you in-game. So let's get things going, talking about what we have been doing in the world of Middle-earth. Carrie, why don't you start?
Not a whole lot, honestly. I've been so busy with other stuff that I haven't had a chance to sit down and play LOTRO. I did manage to get Neverwinter for PS4 downloaded and play a little bit of that, but that was about 30 minutes, and that's about all I've had.
Wow. It's summer. It's busy times for everyone, right?
Yes, it is very, very busy times. And yeah. We'll talk about Weatherstock in a little bit, but I had to miss Weatherstock because I had made a previous commitment to that, and I had fun doing that, but other than that, it's just been too super busy.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've been skirmishing. Skirmishing as always. I've done a little bit of advancing the epic story for my warden on Brandywine, but for my champion over on Landval, it's been 100% skirmishes. Just trying to get enough skirmish marks to get my skirmish soldier leveled nicely. That's really my biggest focus right now. And then also, I didn't advance the epic story over there because I'm a little limited in the amount of skirmishes that I can do. But mostly because I have to go into Moria, and we know my thoughts on Moria.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't think that's any secret.
This is true.
That's my hesitation right now is jumping into Moria again. But I have been getting used to the champion. It's so different, and I'm not doing super challenging skirmishes or anything like that, but the difference between a warden and a champion, mechanically there's some similarities in that, with the warden you have to build up your gambits, and then you jump in and you do your main attack, right? You run your gambit, right? So you do your gambit builders and then you do your gambit. And with a champion, you have to build up your points, and then you spend your points. So it's similar in that way, that it's builder, 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 attack, builder, 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 attack. Mm-hmm. But I am so much more survivable as my warden. Just worlds and worlds more survivable. Even though my warden is medium armor and my champion is heavy armor, I'm still so much more, just because I can spam my self-heals. I have like 4 different skills that will stack with each other and heal me. So it's not exactly healing light. Plus, they do damage while they heal me. So When I do my epic battles, for example, I forget which one it's called, but my gambit that does an AOE attack and an AOE lifesteal.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that would be
Right? So
nice.
I just run
Yeah.
into all the mobs and I'm like, hey, attack me, attack me. I will steal your blood. And then I steal their blood and I live and they die. That's pretty much how it works.
Well, that reminds me of the build that I have in the secret world. It's pretty much lay down this really gross looking thing and like just steal all their life from them as I just attack.
Huh. Huh. That's funny.
Yeah.
Um,
All
all right.
right. That
So
was
that's pretty much what we have done in game for the past couple of weeks here. We did do our skirmish a while back.
Yeah, we tried to do it last week, but it didn't.
Well, that's when I couldn't. That's when I couldn't stream. I had
stream.
issues, and you know what? It was 100% my fault. I had just reinstalled MSI Afterburner, which is overclocking software for my video card, and I had not I had forgotten. I didn't realize that the defaults that I had from when I was playing around with overclocking earlier were still saved to my system. So it loaded up one of these older defaults, which was overclocking the crap out of the card, and it wouldn't let me load any game. It would crash the game, and I couldn't figure out why, because I hadn't gone into MSI Afterburner. I hadn't gone into it and set anything, so I figured it would be the defaults, right? Just the card defaults, but no. So I figured that out finally. It took me hours to get that figured out, but finally I was able to do that. So I think we've actually already talked about the skirmish of skirmishes that we did last time. Yeah,
Yep,
so we don't
we
have
did.
any new one, but hopefully we'll have one for the next show, and we can share that with everyone. If you would like to join us for a skirmish of skirmish, and you have a character that is over 100, I'd say, on either Landreval or Brandywine, please let us know, and we would love to have you join us because we're friendly like that.
Yes.
We like to play with others most of the time. Not all
Okay.
of the time, most of the time,
time.
I'd say. So let us know if you'd like to join us. And if you'd like to become a patron of the MMO Reporter Network and LOTRO Reporter, go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter. And you can become a patron and help us keep the metaphorical lights on. There's also some other ways that you can support the network over at MMOReporter.com/support. So go check all those things out if you like what we do. If you want to see more of the podcast, if you want to see more of the streams and the videos that we do, just go check that out and help us keep the lights on. One thing I wanted to mention real quick, because I've actually gotten some emails about this, is talk a little bit about PAX.
Okay.
Which I forgot to mention to Carrie that I wanted to talk about at this show. But Carrie already knows all this stuff, so I'm not surprising her with anything. Unfortunately, this is going to be the first year in 7 years, maybe 8 years.
I have seen you at the last 4.
Right, but we were going for years before that,
Before
right?
that.
And because Selene had already gone for a couple years by that point, and I went once without her. So this is going to be the first time that I'm not going to be able to go to PAX. Unfortunately, if you remember some months ago, I had to have surgery, and unfortunately that did not go as well as hoped, so they're going to have to go back in again. I don't know if I'm going to have the surgery by that point or what's going to happen, but unfortunately the issues around all that are keeping me away from PAX. So we've usually had a meetup, we've given away some prizes. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year, and I'm incredibly sad about it. It's going to be weird. The last PAX, okay, let me tell you how long it's been. The last PAX that I didn't go to was when Moria was announced.
Oh, wow. That's been a long time.
That's a long time. That was the PAX before I went, was Moria. Because they announced it at PAX. And So I'm sorry, everybody. I'm disappointed and I'm sad, but hopefully you can understand, and it'll be a good time. Carrie is going to be there. She's going to cover some of the show for us, and I might get one other person as well to help out a little bit, but it's not going to be the same thing.
No, it
but
won't.
but we'll get through it, and hopefully next year I can be there again, depending on when we can schedule the surgery and what my recovery time is.
Yeah,
Grr.
but you need to take care of yourself before, because
Yeah,
I know
I know.
2 years ago or last year you weren't allowed to carry anything.
Last 2 years actually, because this is it's going to be the third time they're operating here to try and fix this.
Uh,
So 2 years in a row, I had surgery in the November after two Paxes ago. And then I had surgery last December 29th. And now, yeah. So anyways, that's our PAX plans, unfortunately. And it might affect the show when I do go in for surgery. We'll try and get some guest hosts and stuff like that. But it's a little tough when one of your hosts is away for a little while. So
yeah,
we'll
well,
figure
see.
that stuff out, though, because we love you. We love you all. You are all fantastic human beings, and we want to be here for you. All right, let's move things along, shall we, to the news. All right, Carrie, do you want to take us through the latest and the greatest in the world of patch notes?
Yes, the patches are the mini patches, I should say, are coming fast and furious. So we had 2.2 and 2.3 release in the last 2 weeks.
Right.
The first one was just a few. I think it was the instance. Remember, they had to shut the instance down, about one of the
Yes.
instances down a few weeks.
We talked
so they
about that.
fixed that instance, and then adjusted some of the frills, including tall grass and trees. And I saw a post on that somebody's like, which is part of the reason it took forever for that patch I was downloading, because
Right.
they had all these new files. So if you have like the high res, turn on the frills in your graphics, I hear it's amazing.
Okay, let's take a look right now. The frills, it's frill distance. I've got it on
Yep.
ultra high. Let's go out right now, and let's see how close I am to an actual. Where's the? Okay, so I've got a way out of the town here, and as you're talking about more of the patch notes, I'm gonna run my
Okay.
little dude out, and we'll take a look at the difference between the different frill levels.
All right, and then we'll be talking about the Stable Master collection here in a little bit, but that was another thing they had fixed. And then in the patch notes that happened this morning, they fixed some stuff in the summer festival. They added some mailboxes. They had a lot of stuff. So I think point 2 was more of a hot fix, and point 3 is more of a patch.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see. Oh, the disabled combat music option now consistently disables combat music. Perhaps that should fix your problem, Chris.
Yeah. Hopefully. I'm going to come out here. I'm just coming up onto the outside of the town here so that we can take a look at what a difference this makes or not. Unfortunately, it's dusk here, so is it dusk or is it dawn? It's gloaming.
Gloaming.
It's gloaming. So let's take a look at what the different frills levels do. And I believe it's control. Nope, that's... what's the... Do you remember the hotkey for... Oh, wow. I don't... Wow. Sorry, for UI? Control U. Got it. So this is no frills at all. This is what it looks like with no frills. So you can see here, this is
very
a barren landscape. Basically, there's a texture on the ground that looks like trampled grass. Okay, so we've got that. All right, so let's try it now. Frill, we'll do low frill distance. Okay, but you can see that there is a line. If you can see on my cursor here, there's a line where the frills kind of...
Yes.
Oh, no, that was just a little patchy area.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's the low frill distance.
Oh, it's still very pretty, but I can see that it doesn't go very far out.
But none of these bushes were here with the low
no
frills. With no frills, yeah. Okay, so let's move that along to medium. See what that does. Okay, and you can see it a little bit further in the distance. It's added basically just 3D elements to the landscape, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know what? They've done a pretty good job. If you're looking here at the way they do the 3D, which is basically they're crossing two 2D elements, right? And when you
Hmm.
stand back, it looks like a full 3D element, but really it's just two bisecting
Yeah.
2D elements, right? Which is the definitely the way to do it, right? Okay, let's keep going up here on the different frills to high.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
your eyes get so fooled unless you're
yeah,
standing right on top of it
yeah.
looking down, that this is an actual bush of flowers.
And I don't actually see any difference between medium and high. And let's go very high.
It probably is because it's so far away at this point that we really can't see.
But I wonder why they would put the options in there if we can't
Hmm.
see, right? So,
Yeah, that's true.
anyways, really, if you medium seem to
To be
do
fine.
okay, right? Let's see, get us right into the elements here. That's a nice big long draw distance. Let's put it back down to medium and see if there's no change that I can see right now.
Okay.
So this must be on very far vistas, which we do have in LOTRO, which not a lot of other games have, because its draw distance is so absolutely astounding. Yeah, so there you go. That's the frills and what they've done. And what was the change that they added that, or they added a new?
They what did they do with that? Where did it go? They adjusted some of them. So they added it in patch 18.2, which is part of the reason the patch was so big, is they had
It's
to
all
add
the
all
different
of
files.
this.
That's what you were
Yep.
saying, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. That's looking pretty good. Although, like I said, we couldn't notice much of a difference in those last few
And you've got your draw
levels.
distance like up at ultra for everything, because
I
know.
set it everything to ultra, ultra, ultra,
Okay.
ultra, ultra high,
Yeah.
high, very
E-
high. Yeah,
Yeah. Even for a 9-year-old game, this is still one of the prettiest games I have ever seen.
absolutely,
They
absolutely.
do such a good job with it.
Yeah, and I've got everything. Let's turn on the bloom to a crazy level. Remember, I did that for a while, and then it absolutely looked ridiculous. But it does make a difference. It's a bit brighter. So there you go.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
very.
So what else do we have to to talk about
We have
this week?
stable. There was a dev diary about the stable master, and you were going to
Oh
show us that
yeah,
too.
yeah. I will jump into that in a second. Now, why don't you go over a little bit of what the plan was for the changes in the Stable Master collection?
Right. So with a couple years ago now, maybe even almost 3 years ago, they added the collections tab, and they added, so you could see if you had collected all the horses and all the
Right.
pets and all this and the emotes. That was important.
Yes.
And then it kind of languished and nothing had happened to it. And now they have been adding some things. And one of the things they added was a map that shows you all of where the stable masters are. That way you can see if you have missed any of the stable masters, and you
Right.
can search and check and see.
Yeah, and it looks pretty darn fantastic. You go into your collections here at the bottom, and there's a little bit of a hiccup whenever you go into this map, and I'm sure it's just the amount of data that they're loading. It's not a live map. It's not like anything changes on it as you go, but it's a bigger picture of the entirety of the Lord of the Rings Online. And all the stable master points that you could possibly have, including the hubs, right? The little the green dots with the little star around them are the hubs in that area that
Yes.
you can do the far away travel from, and then from there you can go to all the different points in the zone. And you can see here, I've got pretty much everything up to Gondor. I'm working, but
Yeah.
you can see, it's funny because you can see as I travel through, getting my way through Gondor, I get all the different points. So, very interesting. And of course, there's a couple missing in Moria because Moria sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
If
you have. I think you're missing a couple of the Misties you said as well, and they've
Yes.
updated those since you went through them the last time on that character.
Mhm.
So you probably are missing them flat for that reason.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love this. I absolutely love this because this is one of the things that I always struggle with is getting around, especially when you're in one far off area, and I wanted to go back to Bree for some reason or something like that. And it was with my champion, was out in Gondor for whatever reason, and I wanted to start going through the epic story, so I had to go back to Ered Luin and start that right from the very beginning. And I was worried about getting back there. Thankfully, I figured out again, just sort of go to one of the hubs and go back to East Bree or South Bree.
South Bree.
I
think both North and South Bree will get you to Ered Luin, but
no, but I had to go back there, and the only one that was there, I think the one that links to the world is South Bree, right?
Bree, yes.
Yeah. So I went there, and then from there I went to Ered Luin, and so that worked out well. But I was a little stressed. If I had just gone on this map, I would have been able to see, okay, I need to go here, and then I can go there, and then I'm all good.
Right. I actually it's a very, very old list that doesn't include some of the newer areas, but there was a list of stable masters. There was a website, and I would have that thing bookmarked and look at that a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I need to go from here to here. How do I do that?
Yeah. Yep. And this is very simple. You go to any hub, and then from there, that'll get you back to Bree or to the other sort of areas, and then you go from there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I like this. This is a great addition to the game. And it's nice to see them still doing this. Isn't it interesting that after all the worry that we had about what was going to happen with after Turbine's announcement of moving into a focus on a mobile development studio focusing on free-to-play, and we had all this worry about, what was going to happen to LOTRO, they came out with a hotfix, a patch, and this new collection system, right? And obviously that's been in the work for a while, not the hotfix, but stuff like that. So that's definitely allaying some of my fears. I don't know about some of our listeners maybe still worried about it, but I'm a little less. I'm not completely convinced that everything will be exactly the same, but I'm a little bit convinced.
Well,
if that makes any sense.
So I'm gonna jump down a couple of things to another news item, and it's what's upcoming for LOTRO. So the new executive producer put a little hint in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, says what we really want the content leading up to the Black Gate to live up to the players' expectations. That's what we are working on now.
Yeah.
But the crescendo of what happens up to the ring needs to be fantastic. Once the players have to enter Mordor itself, we feel that we need something big to do that justice, and it has been confirmed that does not mean big battles.
And this came out of a post basically from LOTRO players saying, well, DDO players are getting an expansion. What the heck are we getting?
Yep. And he's like, here's a hint. No timeline, no dates, no executive producer letter, but we're going to get into Mordor. Yeah. They're working on the content up to the Black Gate now.
I love this. I really shouldn't be posting this yet, but
exactly.
I got approval from corporate, so yeah.
Yeah. So Severlin, yep, that is our new executive producer.
Yes, Severlin. Now, do we know?
He's been on DDO for a very long time.
Right. Do we know his actual name?
Yes, we do. Give me a moment.
Google foo. Work your magic.
No. It is in the. There was a post about the executive producer, and Cordovan named them both.
Yeah, and if you don't know, our community manager for all the Turbine properties right now, that's Jerry Snook.
Yep.
So if you don't know, if you are not a longtime listener, we've actually had Jerry on as a guest a couple of times. The most, I think, prevalent time was before he worked for Turbine, when he was the host of DDO Cast, which was one of the first podcasts that I ever listened to that actually made me want to get into podcasting. And he was a community member who then went on to work for Turbine as one of the community team members, and now he is the community manager, the head of the community team for all of the Turbine properties. So,
yeah, and he's very approachable. I've heard him on DDO Players a lot. So I would not. And you can see that the number of posts and tweets and things. I can't find the name of posts and tweets and such are increasing quickly. Um, and there's a lot more interaction in the last week, 2 weeks than
Yeah,
there has been in a long time.
yeah, I think Jerry's a really hands-on guy. I didn't make that connection until I heard his voice on an interview, which let's jump that up too.
Yeah.
The Shane plays. So I first listened to this, and this, I will warn you right now, this may not be a listen for everyone. This show, Shane Plays, is actually it's a YouTube video show. It's a podcast, but first and foremost, I believe, is it's actually a
Yeah,
radio
it's a
show.
radio program out of Little Rock.
Yeah. So this has to be a very mainstream audience. So on this show, Jerry's on there as well as Johnny. I don't know what his sort of forum name is, but someone who's been a friend with the host for quite a while. So this is a very surface level discussion. There's some, how can I put it, factual information that's a little bit incorrect from the host. Nothing that's game, like nothing that made me throw things at the screen or anything like that. But I did exhale quite forcefully out my nose as he mentioned some of this stuff. But yeah, if you want to hear Jerry talk, there's not hardly any talk of the recent issues. This isn't sort of breaking news or anything like that. This is a, hey, by the way, come and check out our games, DDO and LOTRO.
LOTRO. And Asheron's Call, I
They
believe.
do mention Asheron's Call. That's correct. Yeah. So depending on your fandom of the game, if you like everything and just like to hear everything and are happy just hearing more about the game, especially on more mainstream sources, this is a great listen for you. If you yell at your speakers and correct Carrie and I as we talk about the game and all the things that we get wrong,
Don't listen to this.
No, don't. You will probably crash your car.
Yeah, yeah. Don't
Yeah.
get upset.
So, but yeah, if you're interested in that, that's it could be a good listen. It's a short half-hour show, and all of the all of the local radio ads are in line. So,
Oh, those should be awesome.
yeah, yeah. So go check it out if you're interested in that. What else do we have, Carrie?
We have the Summer Festival is live.
Ooh,
And there are new emotes. There are new, they call them kite pets. There are kites in the game. You can fly a kite, and they are beautiful.
so when somebody says "go fly a
Go fly a
kite,"
You
you
can
actually can.
do it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep. And then new cosmetics and the horse and mount caparazon. There we go.
that's
And they
pretty
have
cool.
new quests. There are actually new quests too, as well.
That's pretty exciting.
It's been a couple years, I think, since we've gotten any new quests, so that is very exciting.
Yeah. Oh, I put the wrong link up on the screen. You know what? Why don't you actually jump to that story? Because Summer Festival is Summer Festival, and I'm kind of not interested in festivals anymore. But
Okay.
there is a really cool post that you mentioned in the pre-show from Made Lions.
Yes. So we will talk about that now. So the Ballad of Bilbo Boffin finished its year arc. So Maid of Lions put a long post about what the original idea was, why he decided that, doing episodic content, some of the stuff that it was hard to do, and but he wanted to give it a try and see if it
Yeah.
could be done and stuff like that. And it's a good read, but it's a long read.
Grab your coffee.
Yeah. But there was some very interesting things, like you get different dialogues depending on how you handle some things.
Oh, really? So they put little hooks in your files that'll pull up different things?
Yeah, like
cool.
Bjornings can talk to animal characters. Langhar frequently has different dialogue if she's your sister as opposed to another player.
Oh, awesome.
You can encounter Mercy at different points, depending on if you've completed Volume 3 or not. The guests in week 52 vary. So they've
Oh,
put a lot of, you always wonder, like, there's that one quest with the pants in the Shire. You either tell him to stay or you tell him to come along
yeah,
with you. That's about the only if then. I mean, the other ones, like in, what was it? The area around the horselands there, they would
yeah.
tell you you have a choice A or B, but it would tell you that it didn't really matter what you
Okay.
chose. You could agree with somebody, you could disagree with somebody. It's not going to change anything in the
Right.
game. This looked like it changed small things, but it's kind of neat that they took the time to do that.
Yeah, and into different parts of the game as well, not just sort of this own self-contained thing, right?
Yes, yes.
That's pretty cool.
And he's hoping that he can work another episodic storyline like this into it, but he's not exactly sure what it would be yet.
Right. And I think the hard thing, especially as Turbine shifts here, is going to be allocating manpower to something like this, which is simply a quality of life thing for players. I don't know if this episodic content would necessarily bring new players in, but it might keep players in the game longer and might make them more likely to spend money in the cash shop.
That's true, and it's kind of it's not something that a lot of games do. I mean, I know
Right.
Guild Wars has its living world, but that's like everybody has to do, and it changes the entirety of each. Guild Wars 2 changes whether you do the story or not, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, so this is just a small thing that you can choose to do or not do, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and the thing with Guild Wars 2 is they tried at first. The first season was almost weekly or bi-weekly that this content would come out, and it was quite fast paced, and so it was not that well received because not everybody could get on to spend enough time to complete all of that stuff because some of it was a little tough. And so then the next one, they went to this more episodic one, which they're kind of keeping now, which is, every couple of months. They have a
Okay.
new, but it's a bigger chunk of story, but less maybe action.
Okay.
So,
And Guild Wars 2 is the only game that I know that is actually like blown up bits. Well, WoW did that, but not really. Because isn't like pre that expansion you can still play in one area in a certain way? Is it the Lich
they
King?
changed it with Cataclysm.
Cataclysm, okay.
Was the big one which changed the entire world. Zones were changed, and it was a whole different thing. So, yeah, that was the big one. That was the
Right.
big change.
Okay. And then Guild Wars 2 has done the same thing with the Lion's Arch and some of the other
Yes, but that was only that specific area.
specific area. Okay. And then,
Yeah.
of course, with LOTRO, you have the, depending on where you are in a story, you may have different people or different looks, and that's kind of cool the way they've decided to do that
Yeah.
particular thing. Like which side of, Minas Tirith you're on pre or post attacks and stuff like
Correct. Yeah. So there you go. I hope they do more. I think maybe our listeners can let us know, especially with this summer stuff, with all the streaming that I'm able to do, if they'd like to see a sort of run through. We could even throw the videos up on YouTube of the entire episodic story. I've got enough characters that I can go through it on someone who hasn't done it yet, which
Yeah, and
hasn't
I haven't
started it yet, I should
Yep.
say.
Yep.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested in that, that's definitely something we can put out. Let us know what you'd like to see, and if that's some stuff that you would enjoy, either streaming or YouTube videos.
Exactly.
Cool. What else do we have?
That's it for the news for this
That
2
is
weeks.
it for the
It
news.
was a
Well,
lot of news, though.
Yeah, and again, the fact that we can actually talk about stuff makes me feel just a tiny bit better about the announcement from Turbine a few weeks ago, right?
Yes, because I didn't just lay off people, say we're going to be a mobile studio, and then go quiet.
Yeah, yeah. which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
You done good, Turbine. You
Yeah, you
done
did.
good.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk really quickly about our sponsors. By the way, one of our Patreon goals is to get rid of all of the ads on the podcast. So if you don't like these breaks that we have in here where we talk about our sponsors and any other sponsors that we get, then go support us over on our Patreon campaign, and that's the way that you're going to be able to help us get rid of those ads. That's one of our goals on the Patreon campaign. But right now, we do have our sponsors that help us keep the lights on, help us keep putting out videos and podcasts. First of all, we have none other than Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter, and you can get a free month of the Audible service, which will get you one free audiobook. They are pretty darn fantastic, so you want to go check them out. And of course, the best boutique PC maker on the planet. Go check out doghousesystems.com, and you can get yourself a boutique PC. I know Carrie really enjoys her Doghouse system, as does Avoset. So go check out and maybe get your own. If you use the coupon code MMO Reporter, not only will we get a little something for that, but you will also get an added 120 gig SSD to your order. So whatever you get, they'll add 120 gig SSD to that, and you can keep your gaming going on that SSD. I know I've got an SSD for my operating system, and I like it a lot. So let's move things along to community. All right, so with the community, this year is actually another first. It's the first time that none of us were able to make it to Weatherstock. But
know.
it did still happen. Weatherstock did occur, and I think the first thing that we need to talk about is the winner. Who was the winner of this year's Weatherstock? Carrie?
The Aylford Band.
Yay! Are they new, or do I
Yeah,
just
I haven't heard of them before.
Yeah. It's fantastic that a new group can come forward and claim the title at Weatherstock.
Right.
Good job,
Yeah.
Aylford Band.
The Free People's Choice, the winner was the Rolling Kegs, and they have been in the top 3 or 1 for several years. So they're a well-known band. Les Chen. You're gonna have to say that one because I don't speak French. And he's not looking.
I'll get this totally. Les Chantafables.
Is a new band that I don't know the name of, and Die Bunten Vogel is also a new band name as well. Now they did things a little differently. If you recall, from a few episodes ago, they actually had a contest. And instead of taking the first 10 bands that signed up, they had a contest with competition to see who would be the bands at Weatherstock. So it looks like they got some new blood, which is kind of cool.
That's fantastic. That's good to see too, and nice to have a little bit of variety as well. Although I'm sure there was some. How can we word it? Some disagreement on the way in which they went about that. I can highly support that. I like that they did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is Berazine.wordpress.com has actually put together a compilation of all of streams of all of the bands. So if you missed it and you wanted to, and it looks like they put a compilation of a lot of concerts on their website.
Cool.
So if you missed it and would like to take a look at some of the music that is in LOTRO, you can do that.
That's awesome. It had to do with the whole surgery stuff and all that, and just not being able to make it. I really thought about it the whole day, though, because I knew it was going on, and I just I was missing it because it is a really cool experience. I can't recommend enough if you have a chance at some point to make it out to Weatherstock and just to.
Just do it. It is so much fun. And I have it on pretty good authority that Bob melted at the end again.
Awesome. That's the best part.
Well,
right?
when you have 814 people show up in one spot in LOTRO.
14. That's awesome. That's fantastic. That's a lot of people.
if not the biggest, one of the biggest. I want to say last year I want to say they were closer to 900. I don't think they've made it over 1,000 in one spot at a time. But
No, I don't think so either. I don't know. I thought 700 was last year.
might
Maybe
have
I'm.
been. Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah,
So that's pretty
so
cool.
pretty darn cool. I like I said, I can highly recommend it to anyone who gets the who is thinking of going. You should go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you like the idea of streaming, watching people stream things like concerts and such, there's a partial list of LOTRO has the LOTRO stream team, and they've been adding a few people onto that, and they've been retweeting when the stream team goes live. I also believe that they get hosted on the LOTRO Twitch channel. And they have a partial list. Someone put a partial list together of the Twitch streamers for LOTRO, and it's a bigger list than I thought it would be. There's about 10 of them on there. So that's
really
that's
cool.
a lot.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Good to get some more community members out there streaming and getting the game out there, because it's a nice way to build an audience for the game.
Exactly.
So awesome. Okay, and if you want to join us in game, we're going to try this whole streaming while we're recording. It seems to have gone fairly well tonight, but we'd love to have a group of people joining us as we record and as we stream. I think that'd be a lot of fun and a great way to involve our wonderful community while we're talking about LOTRO news.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you have any in-game events or anything like that, let us know. We would love to share that with the world. And join us on Brandywine next. Not next to. Well, we'll be streaming Skirmish next week, but 2 weeks from now on Brandywine, Tuesday nights, 8:30 Pacific, about 11:30 server time, and you can join us as we run around. Carrie, people want to get a hold of us to let us know about some of those in-game events or anything else that they do in-game, or if they have any questions, how can they get a hold of us?
They can email us at lotro.reporter@gmail.com. They can follow us on Twitter at LOTRO Be sure to check out the Facebook page. Just search for LOTRO Reporter. And we did answer a question from a person who contacted us on Facebook. You can leave us a voicemail at 616-666-6778. Check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. Check out our website at LOTROreporter.com, and be sure to follow us at twitch.tv/MMO Reporter to know when any of our shows or streamers goes live. And you've been streaming a lot, right, Chris?
I have been. I've been doing a whole bunch of different stuff, running through Riders of Icarus right now. I've been doing some LOTRO. I've been doing some Guild Wars 2, sort of as the new content stuff comes out, but sort of my defaults are LOTRO and Guild Wars 2 and WoW, and I think Riders of Icarus is going to join that because mounts.
Okay. Cool.
Dragon mounts.
Yeah, I have that. I have to. I made a character. I just haven't done much. Yep. All right. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheCarrieMac, TheCarrimac, and they can follow you how?
At Almazar, ALMAZAR. Thanks everybody for coming out and hanging out. Thanks to our wonderful chat room here. We're recording in the middle of the day today, so we had a few more people in there. Yeah. And thanks to you, Carrie, for recording today.
Oh, absolutely. Glad to do it. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah. And thanks to all of you for listening to the podcast week after week. We sure appreciate it. We hope that you come back next week for another episode, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.